I know you can see the top of my drop, but this is a really cute angle and I'm not interested in changing it, so we're gonna keep it as is. What's up, y'all? I'm still not working, so I'm gonna put on this face mask that I actually had worn in a previous video that never saw the light of day because I just felt like it looked inappropriate, you know? But we're back and I've decided not to give a shit. So we're going to put on this face mask and we're going to talk a bit. I want to talk about the fact that there's a little narcissist living inside of you. Seriously, that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the fact that there is an aspect within me who wants to see men in pain. And I'm not talking about sexually, I'm talking about there is an aspect of me who genuinely, no, I don't want to say genuinely, a wounded aspect of me who wants to see men in pain. So we want to talk about that. We want to talk about this. I'm going to talk about the relationship dynamics first. So first things first, how do we see this? We see this all of the time. We see people in relationships. Usually societally, we call it out a little bit more when it's men, but it's actually super duper mutual. And we kind of might get into the intricacies of it a little bit. Let me just say what I wanted to say. Okay, so what I want to say is this. There is you know, when you're in a relationship with a guy and the guy is, you know, who you would call abusive, and you're in a relationship with the abusive guy, and, you know, this is the guy who, like, doesn't care about your feelings, and he's, like, super duper rude, and he's, like, you know, really disrespectful, and you're just kind of sitting here and you're like, I'm actually in agony, I'm actually crying, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking going through it, and this guy just couldn't give two shits, right? That relationship. And there is this feeling of this person, like you feel like this person is getting an enjoyment out of seeing you in pain, out of seeing you struggle, seeing you in distress, right? So it's being able to recognize that I also have this aspect of me. This is also an aspect of my personality, and it is for a lot of us. So I will just explain myself and the realization that I just had. I realized there is an aspect of me who likes to see men in pain. I've said that about 1,000,000 times. And so what I have really realized connecting with that aspect of myself, it's like, okay, hold on. We want to see men in pain. Why? I have to give an example. This is when a guy does something wrong to you and then the guy feels bad, right? The guy feels like shit. You want the guy to feel like complete and utter shit for treating you badly. You want to see this guy suffering. You want to see this guy crying. You want to see him being a fucking mess because he treated you so badly. He deserves to feel bad, right? That's the aspect of you that is kind of subconsciously torturing people, right? And this goes both ways. Like I said, we usually talk about it more when it's men, and then we do the whole labeling narcissist, all of that. We're not even going to get into it. We're going to get into solutions. We're going to get into root causes. So connecting with this aspect of myself, you want to see this person in trouble. It's like this, not this energy of, oh, he feels bad and I'm happy, but like I want him to feel bad, right? So it's being able to recognize that you are subconsciously hurting your romantic partners. And so the second that you recognize that you're subconsciously hurting your romantic partners, you're like, wait a second, I actually don't want to see anybody in pain. So how do we fix this? We connect with the aspect of ourselves who wants to see our partner in pain. Why do you want to see him in pain? I want to see him in pain because at the end of the day, when he is crying over me, when he is distraught over me, when he is, I love you so much, when I do something and he has an intense emotional reaction, even if it's negative, how does that make that aspect of me feel? It makes me feel prioritized. It makes me feel important. It makes me feel relevant, and it makes me feel significant in that person's life. And so then you realize, oh, I actually don't want this person to feel bad. This is just the only way that I know that this aspect of me knows that somebody cares about them. So now there's a couple of things in there. Number one, when you recognize that there is this part of you who wants to see men in pain, there is a little bit of that revenge element. So number one, before we even get into the healing and moving forward, you got to get into that validation. Of course you want to torture men. Of course you want to see men in pain. Of course you want to see men in agony, because men have treated you badly. Because men have treated you terribly, because men have treated you so badly, and then they have quite literally acted in the next second as if nothing happened, as if your pain, your trauma, your hurt is completely irrelevant to them. Just means nothing. Men have treated you like you mean nothing. So of course you want to see them in pain, you want to see them hurting, because you're in that vibration of revenge. I want to get back at them. I want to hurt them like they hurt me. Why? Because I want them to know how it feels like. Because this aspect of me feels like that person doesn't understand. They don't understand the repercussions to their actions. They don't understand the results of the way that they have treated me. They've hurt me and they don't care. So now I want men to feel pain after they hurt me, because I want them to understand the weight of their actions. I want them to understand the impact that it has on me. So now, talking about love and relationships, one of my favorite definitions of love right now comes from Teal Swan, and she says that love is to take something as a part of yourself, right? And when you take something as a part of yourself, it's basically just acknowledging that I can't hurt this thing without hurting myself. So because this is a part of me, I want to understand this thing. I want to understand this thing's needs. Well, I want to understand this person. I want to understand this person's needs. I need to truly have an understanding and a feeling of intimacy with this person so that I can make choices that are in the best interest of this person. That's trust. That's love in a relationship. So it's recognizing that this aspect of me that is wanting to hurt men, I have never experienced that. Right? I never experienced that in my childhood. I never experienced that with men specifically, being taken as a part of someone else. Because if I was taken as a part of the adults, the authority figures, the siblings in my life, then I would not have experienced the pain and the trauma and the hurt, right? Because by them hurting me, then that would have also been them hurting themselves. It would have been a lot different versus in those situations when you're experiencing abuse from parents or from siblings. The only way that they can abuse you in that way is if they distinctly see you as other than them, right? So this is recognizing, holy fuck, I grew up in a home environment where there wasn't love. There wasn't the healthy, highest vibration of love. So I'm just recognizing that right now. I'm recognizing, of course, I feel revenge. Of course, this aspect of me feels angry. It's being able to recognize where this aspect of myself is, this inner child of mine. Where are you? You're feeling lonely. This aspect of me is feeling neglected. And so when I find myself in that mind mind space of saying something that might hurt a man and feeling enjoyment from that, that's me recognizing, or that's an opportunity for me to recognize, oh, this aspect of me is being triggered. Now, what is this communicating to me? This is communicating to me several different needs. Number one, it's communicating to me my need to show up for myself and love myself more. This aspect of myself, any aspect of you that is actively trying to hurt another person, that is an aspect of you that feels like shit. That is an aspect of you that feels bad, because when we are making any decision in life, we are doing it because we believe that it's going to make us feel better. So when an aspect of you thinks that hurting another person is going to make you feel better, that is an aspect of you that feels terrible. That is an aspect of you that is like super low vibrational, wounded, all of that, right? So this is an aspect of me that needs love. This is an aspect of me that needs to be nurtured. This is an aspect of me that is manipulative. And that does not mean that we need to get into shame. You're a bad person. We don't need to get into guilt. We don't need to get into blame. We don't even need to do anything other than see this for what it is. This is an inner child of mine who is so incredibly neglected and in pain. She feels like there's nobody who is advocating for her. So the only way that somebody can understand the pain that she's in is if she puts them in that same pain, because they don't understand. She's trying to find somebody who can relate to her. She's also trying to feel important. She's trying to feel prioritized. She's trying to feel as if somebody she wants, her biggest desire, is to be taken in and loved and seen as a part of somebody else. And so now, as we're connecting with this aspect of ourselves, what is it that you want? What is your goal? When you hurt somebody, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel loved, prioritized, cared for, nurtured? When somebody has an emotional reaction to something that I'm saying or doing, even if it's negative, it makes this aspect of me feel important and significant and powerful. Whereas previously I would have felt powerless and irrelevant and like a burden, and so on and so forth. So it's being able to recognize this aspect of you is trying to get its needs met, but it's now trying to get its needs met, or it's getting its needs met in a way that is harmful to you and harmful to another person. One of the things that I'm just realizing more and more is that a lot of us are hurting each other in relationships and we don't know it. We are subconsciously choosing to hurt other people and we don't know it. So it's being able to sit and, can you acknowledge that there is an aspect of me that wants to see men in general in pain, and instead of going with the shame, connecting with that aspect, reacting or responding with an aura of curiosity and a desire to get to know that part of yourself better, right? So now, as we validated the emotions, move through the processes, now we're arriving at this point of, okay, so what would we like instead? So now it's my job as another aspect of myself, who is the, I guess, conscious aspect of myself, the grown aspect of myself, the aspect of myself who is in control, of the Prindle right now. This aspect of myself is like, okay, I have to introduce this new way of life to this other aspect of myself who is stuck in a time where nobody's ever going to meet your needs. Nobody will ever prioritize you. Nobody understands the pain that you are in. You are incredibly alone. So connecting these two, introducing these two, having that conversation, right? We're talking about integration and all that good stuff. So it's being able to recognize, wouldn't you rather have, wouldn't it feel so good if you had a partner who was, Nathallie, I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I want you to feel loved, nurtured, cared for. I want you to feel important. I want you to feel significant. You being loved, you feeling important and cared for and significant is important to me. When you feel loved, that makes me feel good. I want to show up in a relationship and I want you to feel important. Doesn't that feel better than the person who is not emotionally responding to the pain that they put you in, but then emotionally responding when you also put them in pain? Because in that situation, it's lose-lose. In that situation, we all feel bad, versus this new possibility of oh yeah, there is a whole new way for me to get this need met. Okay? That's really all that I have to say. If you have questions, comment them, DM them. You can email me if you want help working with these different aspects and parts of yourself. I would love to work with you and support you and all of that good stuff. And I am now out of time. I love you guys. Bye.